everyone. Welcome to the Not a Lonely Coffee Break podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Megan. We're a podcast about coffee and work, but make it queer.
Absolutely. We always want to make it queer. We love
Make
we love a good queer podcast.
That's what we are. Well,
Yes. Okay, but first, Megan, because since our last episode, and we even talked about it in the last episode, but it is now official. The next Bridgerton storyline will be the lead story, will be the gay storyline.
yes.
I know we talked about it being in the next season, but
hmm
I think we talked about it maybe like being the secondary story.
Right.
Netflix has said, nope, it's the lead story.
I'm so excited for it. It's
So
going to be
it's
filled
going to
with
be so
drama.
good.
I'm so excited because
It's
at the end, I don't want to do any spoilers, but at the end, I was feeling that relationship a lot more than the main one. It was a cute story. And I love Bridgerton. I love like gummy romances like that. But at the end, I was like, just give me more. I just want to see
it's
what happens.
coming. It's
Yes.
coming. So no, I knew that it was going to be addressed, but I actually did not think that they would make it the lead storyline.
Yeah.
So I am so excited for it. I think it's going to be full of queer joy, which is what we need. Anyone who's tracking on their bingo card, maybe you want to mark off queer joy
Queer joy.
if you haven't already.
I've been
Okay.
thinking a lot about, signs of a bad workplace. I've been
Oh my gosh.
contemplating on like a lot of like, did I see the signs? Did I ignore the signs?
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, I think I ignored them. And I
Mm-hmm.
was just really thrown up about it. Like, bleh. And
No,
so, yeah.
I feel the same way. I often, even just reflecting on my own experience, I'm like, wow, why did I ignore this obvious warning sign? And I think some of it was that I was so burned out from my previous job that I was just like, oh my gosh, whatever.
hmm
I thought I could handle it. But then, like, even when you and I were first forming this podcast, we were talking to so many people who were like, and it didn't matter what industry they were from, like nonprofit, corporate, wherever. They were like, oh my gosh, I can relate to that so much. Like, are we just all running around ignoring these red
I
flags
think
in our
so.
workplaces?
I think so. I think we're just like, because my mentality was the same way, right? I just came out of like a really high stress position. I came into this one. I was like, I know what I want. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to overstretch myself. So I'm going to stay in my lane. It's fine. But as the red flags were like appearing while I'm driving in my lane, I was like, I don't need to do a U-turn. This is fine.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, of course, it crashes and burns.
We like see the fire coming up around us
hmm
and we're just like, la la la, someone else will get it.
Yes. And the reason why this came to mind was because I don't know if you saw in the news. This is wild, y'all. I have, what is this called? Pop culture
I know
gossip?
Megan has a pop culture story
What?
that did not come from me. I
Yeah.
am
So
shook.
be impressed. So I saw that Labyrinth, who is a British musician, and he is the mastermind behind the music of Euphoria. That's on HBO. It's gotten a lot of like awards. I'm pretty sure it's just
Mhm.
gotten a lot of talk because it is a more modern, very dark, in my opinion, drama about
Mhm.
addiction, about abuse,
Mental health.
mental health, and like all the challenges. And I think it really, especially for someone who may have struggled with substance abuse, it does ring true and it can be traumatic to watch. So if you're sensitive to that,
Absolutely.
I would kind of back off of it because it is very raw when it comes to the pain people feel around abuse and substance abuse and mental health. Yeah, so Labyrinth was the mastermind behind the music. It was a very modern soundtrack for both season 1 and 2. But on the
Mhm.
third season, a few weeks ago, he came on and he basically said, I could read it out, but he basically said, F Euphoria, F this, I'm out.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
was it. And everybody was like, whoa. what happened. And he is known for like basically being like very, I guess, he knows exactly what he wants to do, right?
Mhm,
He has a
mhm.
path that he set himself on. And we've talked about this before. The film and music industry is a whole other
Right,
nonsense. Just
yeah.
like there's so many workplace issues in the film and music industry, like
Mhm.
overworking, how people are treating each other. Is it toxic? Are
Boundaries.
boundaries? Yes, exactly. And then for a show that is
Mm.
so, very raw and can meet with a lot of people, it has had a couple of red flags the last few years,
Yeah,
you
there's been a
know?
that's why it's taken so that's why there's so much of a gap in between seasons is because it seems like even though, like, the season comes out and everyone's talking about it and giving praises to, like, the actors, because I know Zendaya I watched maybe, like, the 1st and a little bit of the 2nd season. It's a little heavy for me, but
Mhm.
I know all of the ones that I've seen, Zendaya does, like, top
Yeah.
tier
Oh,
job
yeah, she's
at
amazing.
portraying the character.
Mhm.
But there's always something going on with Euphoria.
Yeah, yeah, and we also have, Hunter Schafer, who is a trans woman. She's basically
Mhm.
built her career with this show. Um,
Mhm.
we've seen her in a lot of other films, but
I've also seen, I think more recently with everything going on, I've seen a lot more transphobia
mhm.
towards Hunter Schafer.
Yeah, because she's a wonderful actress. Like, she
Uh,
does a great job, and I like, you know, seeing her in film and seeing her in shows, but she's obviously awesome, and they have a problem with that,
yeah.
right? About a trans woman being successful and a
Mhm.
great actress. Like, I think at what point they were wanting her to become Zelda.
That's where I've seen most of the
Yeah, and
thing.
it was this huge uproar, and,
Mm.
like, anyway, if anyone's ever played Zelda,
Here's
it's fine.
what I think a lot of it stems from. I think that people watched Euphoria, saw Hunter Schafer, did not know that she was trans, thought that she was hot, and then they
Mhm.
found out that she was trans, and so they were like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what?" And so now their response to that is that they are being really negative online towards someone they don't even know and never had a chance with to begin with. She's way
Right.
out of their league.
Yeah.
But
He's not
anyway,
interested.
back to this story
Back
with
I digress.
Labyrinth. We digress.
We
Back
digress.
to
But,
the
I mean,
story with Labyrinth.
right. And so it just got me thinking, like, there are all sorts of he said in his post when he posted this, it says, "I want to have more meaningful interactions. I don't want to use anyone. I don't want to be used. I hope people stop
Mhm.
acting like this is how it's just done. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be done this way. Fake ain't a good business plan." And I think that
Mhm.
that's something that rang true to me because there's so many times that, you forego some of your values or possibly some of your character to fit into a job description or into a
Mhm.
strategy that they're trying to do. And when it becomes morally questioning, right, you start questioning like their ethics or their morals behind what they're trying to create
Mhm.
and how that is affecting me and how that is affecting, right, the art that I'm trying to produce or the work I'm trying to produce. And
Mhm.
there's this culture that says if we have someone who has seniority to you or like I'm not there's no news onto why he did this, but in my experience, it's usually because someone higher than you is saying, "Hey, I know better than you. This is the direction we're going to go." And he
Right.
set that foot down and he said, "Absolutely not. I
Mhm.
created my music. If you don't like it, I'm walking."
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think that, it's hard for a lot of us to do that, especially if your work means a lot to you, especially if, like, maybe you're a project management person, maybe you're a marketing person, and there's a lot of like creativity that comes into this work, especially social work as well, right?
Mhm.
But whenever you go into these private companies and private organizations, they're going to have their way of doing things, and that's it.
Mhm.
And so I feel like when I saw this story post, I was like, this isn't the first time Euphoria's had an issue, right? They've talked about
Mhm.
toxic workplaces where I'm not sure exactly what happened, but they were rude or they were like making them work long hours without food breaks.
Right.
And
Mhm.
there were people on set who were relapsing from their own
Yeah.
addictions.
Yeah.
And still
Which
and
we also saw one of the prominent characters who portrays a drug dealer
Mhm.
also died in what, last year, 2 years ago?
Yeah, yeah, he died by
From
suicide.
Yeah, so what kind of workplace culture, and I think in the social media post, it kinda highlights some of those things that we hear that we do, I think, gloss over in multiple workplaces, is that idea of, "Well, this is just how it's done."
Mhm, mhm.
Well, why does it have to be done this way?
But why though?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is your own imaginary rule that you've
Yeah.
created
Mhm.
to exploit or
It's
to
a
make things
well,
easier for you.
yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to power, right?
Mm,
The people who have the power are making the decisions, and it's whatever they want, whatever is easiest for them, whatever will bring them the most money, all of those things. And so they hold that power above those people that are deemed as less than.
right. Or
And I
maybe
think,
early in their career,
yeah,
they may not
early in their
value
career.
them as much because of their age, because of where they come from.
Mhm.
Maybe they
Yeah.
don't have family in the industry. Yeah.
Right. Right. And I think this story, when you shared it with me, a nail tech also came out and kind of posted in the comments that it really resonated with her because her nails were heavily featured in season 2 and she felt like it didn't get enough. She was not given enough sort of
Credit.
kudos,
Mhm.
credit for the hard work that she contributed as a creative person, and almost like she was taken advantage of because she's like, "I did a lot of, just personal marketing on my own platforms for this that cost them nothing." And so, yeah, it's just people sick of being taken advantage of
Mhm.
and the consequences of that.
Right, right. So, with that being said, I think we gotta review the red flags, right?
Mhm.
Right? I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah. What are some red flags?
what are they? Let's see.
Because we could probably, I think it's one of those things where people were talking and people were like, "Oh, that's a red flag." But then when we actually hear it, we're like, it's like we just gloss over it.
When it's being done to us. Yeah.
So I kind of compiled some thoughts, at least of maybe some of those early red flags that I think
Okay.
a lot of people ignore.
Okay.
In this place, is there a high turnover rate
Mm,
that everyone is aware of and maybe there's even jokes about it? And I know, Megan, that one really resonated with me in our situation because there was already a high turnover rate when I came on board. I know you came on board
mhm.
before me, but like when I came on board, there was already a high turnover rate.
Yeah.
And I just kind of glossed over it. I didn't see it for what it was, which was a red flag.
Right. And so could I add, like, whenever so that happened twice to me. So it
Mm,
happened that time, and then the second time I asked about it, but it was more like, well, it's a new direction. And
yeah.
I just took it as that. Okay, yeah, sure,
Mhm.
whatever. It's a new direction. I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we got to maneuver and get different people on. Okay.
Yeah.
But then the same thing happens to me, what, 6 to 8 months later? We're going in a different direction. So
Mhm.
I should have asked further, okay, well, what does this direction look like? Like, how can this
Mhm.
fit into my work? And is there something I should be aware of? I
Am I
think
aligned with this new
this new direction, right? And what was the risk that I was taking by, doing that? And I think a lot of us go into a new
Mhm.
position when companies are taking that new direction. But I think asking questions is where I
Mhm.
could have done a little bit better is being more details and not just taking yes for an answer, right? Or just,
Mhm. Mhm.
but yeah.
Yeah. So another one, honestly, this little list that I came up with, they all resonate with me because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I feel stupid that I saw all of these and I just la 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 went about my life." How easily I could have maybe avoided some things in life if I had just paid attention to those red flags. So another
Yep.
one, no clear training or onboarding.
Yep.
And it's just you figure it out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that was one that when I started at the company with you, I did not have an official onboarding. I was
Yeah.
given I was given my office, which was a disaster, which also should have been a red flag, that I had to, like, go through the person
Old
who
stuff.
had been fired that I replaced.
Mhm.
I had to clean out their office. It was trash. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah, I do.
That was
Wasn't
my
nice.
onboarding.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, it shows a lot for organization, right? Like, are
Mhm.
they organized? Are they willing
Mhm.
to invest in putting in some documentation so that you know
Mhm.
where you're starting from, right? You
Right.
shouldn't be in there just trying to figure out, well, what have they done the last 5 years? I guess I'll go
Right.
dig for myself,
Mhm.
which can be a
What
learning
is the
experience in one way,
right,
but
like, what is the protocol for this?
what
What is the like, what is the chain of command?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Just all those handbook things. I know
Mhm.
that employee handbooks or like protocols, standard operating procedures, SOPs, those things seem like tedious and like almost like this is monotonous. I already know all this, but it does really show if a company is willing to standardize
Mhm.
their practice
Mhm.
and because
And
if
put
they're
something in
standardizing and
writing.
put something in writing because they
Mhm.
feel good about what they're backing, right?
Well, it protects them as a company, but it also protects you as the employee because you can come back and say, "I was just following the guidance given to me in the handbook."
And my hands are clean of that.
Okay, so this one is one that I know comes up a lot across industries, but I know for sure it likes to hang out in nonprofits where there is sometimes a constant kinda evolution in your job descriptions and roles.
Mhm.
But that constant confusion about roles and who's doing what. And I think, at least when I've seen it in the nonprofit world, the red flag might be that in the job description, they put somewhere at the bottom, like, other tasks and responsibilities as assigned per your manager.
Yeah.
Because then it's like they can just assign you whatever,
Mm.
even if it's not necessarily within the job that you signed up for.
Right, and asking questions like, "Hey," I think especially in the very beginning, "Hey, I read this in the job description. Like, what
Mhm.
other tasks do you think you're gonna be making me do so that I can be prepared to do them," right? Or
Mhm.
fit them into my schedule or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, just seeking clear.
Like, is it me just wanting to come help with events, or is me taking on complete other projects from other
Mhm.
departments,
Or taking
right?
on 3 additional roles because you fired somebody.
Yeah, that's basically nonprofit life.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, "Okay, let me put on my 5th hat here."
Yeah.
I got, like, 8 party hats going on.
Yes. Okay, what about this one, Megan? I think it ties in a little bit to that turnover rate too, that
Mm.
we're like a family here.
I can't stand that one. I can't stand it when a boss is like, "You're my family." Because, like, are you gonna change diapers for us? Are you gonna come cook
Mhm.
for me if I can't make it home in time for dinner? Like, are those the
Yep.
types of things you're willing to do
Mhm.
for me, like a family?
I don't even like my family.
It
No,
just
it
seems
blurs it's a way that people blur the boundaries, right? Because if we're
Mhm,
all family, then I can call you at an inappropriate time and give you a task.
mhm.
And I can maybe even ask you inappropriate questions about your personal life.
Uh,
I know in our situation, I know I'm applying this a lot to me specifically, but whatever. This
Whatever,
is
it's
my
our podcast.
experience. It's our podcast. I know for me in the time in the place that you and I work, my wife and I were going through some health things and, having some of those family conversations, and our boss kept inserting themselves into that aspect of my life. And yes, I was sharing what I needed to share, like if I needed to leave for an appointment or things like that, but it was things that it was like, "I need to leave a little bit early today because I have this doctor's appointment," but then it would be like, "Well, tell me about how this is going," and I'd be like, "You don't need to know that information about my life."
Mhm. Like, trying to make you extremely vulnerable
Right, yeah,
to
like,
exploit you later.
yeah, like, you're not my therapist,
Hmm.
you're not my doctor,
Nope.
And that's a blurred boundary. Like, yes, you can have those personal conversations, manager and employee, but I think it was a tactic to, again, just like you said, find my vulnerabilities and exploit that to be able to come back and say, "Well, you're just overwhelmed with your personal life that
Yeah.
you can't do this job."
Yep. Absolutely. And then they just use that down against you.
And then when you don't share it, it's like, "Well, you have so many walls up. You're not gonna go very far if you don't start breaking down those walls, and we're a family here, and you're
Yeah.
not being part of the family." Like, that's gaslighting.
Yes, yes. And I think we all need to understand, especially if you are a person who likes to say that stuff at work. It's fine. I get it. You're
Mhm,
trying to build morale and cohesion within your team, but know that every single family does something different, right?
right,
The way they
mhm,
treat each other, the way they communicate with each other, the way they gift and show appreciation.
mm,
For you to try to get them to fit your image of what a family looks like is not healthy. It's not helpful.
mhm,
It's frankly confuses the heck out of everybody. And so, like,
mhm,
if you keep saying that, yes, it sounds cute and it sounds wholesome as a community. We're all a family. But
mhm.
at the end of the day, like, you still are charged with firing them. You still are charged with
Right,
writing them up and
right,
putting them through tough conversations about growth or about something you're not agreeing with, their work
mhm,
ethic.
and,
And
yeah,
I don't remember the last
honestly
time my mom or dad ever talked to me about that.
right, honestly, the people like, just thinking about the various workplaces that I've been in, or I've even heard, "We're like a family here." The people that have stayed invested in me outside of that workplace were the people that figured out those, like, professional, personal boundaries where they knew things about my personal life, but also maintained that professional boundary and had those tough conversations with me
Mhm.
when they needed to happen. And they did it in a way where they were investing in my growth as a professional, not as a, "Oh, I caught you screwing up." And those are the people that I have maintained relationships with outside of the workplace. All those other people that were just like, "We're like family, blah, 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 blah." They once I no longer worked at that place, like, I don't talk to them. We might
Mhm.
be friends on, like, a social media platform where every now and then there's, like, a little heart on a
Mhm.
post, but we don't have a relationship. So, clearly
Right,
we were not family.
right.
Of course, I don't know. I don't really talk to my family on a regular basis.
Yes.
Maybe maybe we're a perfect family.
Yeah. I mean, it's like our family versus our chosen family, right? Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
which one are we talking about? But, no, I hate that one.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, this is one, Megan, that you and I have talked about before. Urgency is treated like normal every day. Like,
Yeah.
everything is urgent, earth-shattering,
Everything is on
and if it's
fire.
everything is on fire, and if we don't put it out immediately, we are gonna lose our jobs, we are not gonna get paid,
Yeah.
the world is going to crash and burn.
Yeah. Yeah. We've really gotta determine, like, what is a crisis versus
Mhm,
normal workday versus easy
mhm.
day,
Well,
right?
even just prioritizing, like,
Prioritizing, yeah.
what are the things most important here? What are things that they're important, but they can wait?
Mhm.
And then what are some things that, yes, we've gotta get them done, but after these more important things get done.
Yeah. It seems like whenever someone is in urgency a lot, if you find that management, it feels like you're just putting out fires and it's not
Yeah.
really the type of industry that you really should be putting.
No.
Oh, I mean, I get it. There's time, like, there are, like, if you work in a hospital or in like an emergency clinic,
Mhm, mhm,
even teaching, right? You'll have like those types of things. When you interact with people, yes, you have to be on your toes a little bit.
mhm,
But like if you're in a job where you're a project management and there are steps and there's a
mhm.
few month strategy, if your boss is like every single day, like the world is on fire, it's probably because they're unorganized.
Right.
So you should really be questioning, is this a like, be sure you're like notating your work ethic versus theirs,
Mhm.
right? Because at some point, yeah, your work is going to reflect on what they're doing and you want to make sure that you're covering your butt.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I think that's one I see a lot is just people who struggle to prioritize things to make it feel manageable And so everybody is running around being overwhelmed. And then, of course, that leads into burnout
Mhm.
because now we're all burned out because we're so overwhelmed with all these band aids and we've run out of band aids.
Or we run out and we're gonna bleed out. Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna bleed out
Yeah.
because we've used all the Band-Aids and we haven't taken a step back to prioritize things.
Yeah.
And we've just said that everything is urgent, and if it doesn't get done, then the whole agency is shutting down.
Yeah. Yeah. So keep an eye on that, folks. I think that I just really I didn't love what happened to Labyrinth, but I love that he was able to put his foot down and he was like, this is what my
Yeah.
goals are. I think we are,
Mhm.
a lot of people feel that we're in this very landscape for jobs right now, for
Mhm.
employment, like for careers, like what that looks like on a long term scale. Like a lot of people have their career planned out. Like, okay, these first years, I'm going to do this couple years, I'm going to do that. And that's cool. But like
Mm.
things are always changing. And if you notice a rhythm within your company that is like red flag after red flag after red flag, at some point that red flag is going to come for you. And so
Absolutely.
asking the right questions, standing up for yourself, and making sure you
Mhm.
have that communication with your manager or supervisor frequently, especially when things start to seem like you notice that talk is starting. You notice that
Mhm.
everybody is stressed out, everybody's unsure
Yep.
about what's going on.
Mhm.
I think that would really help you out there.
No, I agree. I'm with you. I don't, again, love what happened to Labyrinth, but I am grateful that even though it was still kind of a vague social media post, we don't know
Mm,
everything that happened. I am grateful that he at least has opened the channel for people to talk about things that are happening in their industries, whether it's Hollywood, music, or us lowly people
social
who
workers,
work in
nonprofit.
nonprofits. Because I think it's a conversation that a lot of people gloss over because we're like,
Mhm,
"Well, we've gotta deal with it because we need work."
mhm,
But
mhm.
we can know our worth, we can know our value, we can know what we bring to the team, and we don't have to accept workplace toxicity, and you also don't have to quit your job to
That's right.
combat it. So, I think making sure that you do find the person that you can ask some of those questions to, like, is there a reporting process? Is there something that we can do to call attention to this? Because I do think some of it it's not a I think some of it is intentional. I think sometimes people do it and they don't know any better because they come from that culture, right? So they
Mhm.
don't know any better, and maybe it's just a matter of having a little conversation, a little chit chat with them.
Right, right.
But
Good
anyway,
point. Well,
let me get my off my soapbox. This got me heated today.
I know, I know. I was ready to go. But,
That was a good story though,
uh,
relevant to us. Listeners, we would love to hear from you about what you feel like are some red flags that maybe you have seen them before and spotted it right away, or maybe it was obvious in hindsight, but you had no idea it was a red flag at the time. What are some of those red flags for you? Make sure you leave us a comment or share with us on social media. What are your red flags? We want to know.
give it to us.
But I am
Well,
out of coffee today.
me too. Good chat, good chat. I feel
Good
better now.
chat. I feel better too.
Well,
But I am out of coffee, so that is our cue to wrap up. So thanks for joining us for a great chat, another great episode. Make sure that you are, of course, subscribed to the show. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. Um, and share it with your friends.
be sure you're connected with us
Mm.
on all our socials and continue the conversation. We would love to hear about your questions you have or your experience navigating the workplace.
Yes, you can find us on LinkedIn, Threads, Instagram, Patreon. We will have some exciting information coming up. We've got some fun stuff. We're
Stay tuned.
nearing Pride Month. We're getting geared up for that. So just be on the lookout where you can spot Megan and I out in the community so that you can join us. Thanks again for a great episode of Not a Lonely Coffee Break. Again, we are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Megan. We'll see you next time.
Cheers,
Cheers.
queers.